This is how life-changing naltrexone and the Sinclair Method is for most people. And I see stories like this all of the time. It was my experience. I've worked with over 1,000 people by now, and so many people have a testimony just like this because of the treatment. So they basically say it works. I have one drink a month now, if that, totally by choice. My life is completely changed for the better. That's the thing with this treatment. Sometimes people will comment and say this won't work with someone who really has an alcohol addiction because people with alcohol addiction can't moderate their drinking. And historically, that has been true because once we develop an alcohol addiction, it changes our brain. And once those changes have happened, it's really hard to control our drinking. And so a lot of us feel like we just have to quit drinking, but it's also really hard to quit drinking because we're just craving it and mentally preoccupied and thinking about drinking all of the time. But naltrexone and the Sinclair Method completely changes the paradigm of what we've believed it means to recover from alcohol addiction, because this treatment actually works to reverse alcohol addiction in the brain. So again, we develop alcohol addiction. It's a learned behavior neurologically, and once it's learned, it's really hard to reverse it unless you go on naltrexone and the Sinclair Method. And when that happens over time, the brain gets restored back to the place it was in before someone ever had an alcohol addiction. And oftentimes, most of us can then drink in moderation, and it's more of a conscious choice. We do so with control. We don't over drink anymore. We just get our control back over alcohol. And another huge gift of this treatment is that it gets rid of the alcohol craving. So a lot of people who have struggled with alcohol addiction will talk about this mental preoccupation. We're just thinking about drinking all of the time. You know, if we're not drinking, we want to drink. We're romanticizing it all day long. It's just this incessant chatter. Should I drink? Should I not drink? Do I have wine there? Do I need to go to the store? And with naltrexone and the Sinclair Method, that was one of the first things I noticed, like my first week on the treatment was like, oh my gosh, I'm not thinking about drinking as much. Like it was just a little bit less chatter. And the longer I was on the treatment, that craving ultimately went away completely for me. And that is such a freedom. Like I get emails and messages from people who tell me that they're 6 months, 1 year, 2 years sober, and they still want to drink every day. They still think about drinking every day, but they're just kind of white knuckling it. And that's something that's so different about TSM is it gets rid of that mental chatter. And so we just don't even really think about drinking. And that's why I tell people that, you know, I quit drinking by accident through this treatment because I just kept going longer and longer without drinking because the desire wasn't there anymore. I just wasn't thinking about it anymore. So it became really easy to not drink. Like I was like, oh, a month went by, I didn't drink. 2 months. Wow, 3 months. It was crazy. For me, that was after I'd been on the treatment for a year. So just so you know, I started it as a daily drinker, was still drinking a lot in the beginning, but over the course of a year, my drinking just gradually reduced and I started to rebuild a life that didn't revolve so much around drinking. And within the course of a year, I just didn't even really care about alcohol anymore. So that's the beauty of this treatment. Ultimately, the person can choose, like the individual who commented, you know, they're drinking once a month. You know, that's amazing that they can still keep alcohol in their life and do so with control. Others like me end up going alcohol free, but ultimately the choice is yours. If you're new to this treatment, check out my other videos. I have all my videos on here are about the treatment. You can also learn more with the link in my profile or head to my website, thrivealcoholrecovery.com.